In this breakdown, Wall Street Trapper's three key fundamentals of investing, a blueprint for turning income into generational wealth. Trapper explains how the wealthy use discipline, patience, and knowledge to control money instead of chasing it. You'll learn the mindset shift from consumer to investor, how to make your money work for you through ownership and cash flow, and why understanding risk and patience builds long term financial freedom. This isn't just a theory, it's a street smart guide to financial literacy, power, and wealth, building straight from one of the most respected voices in finance culture. Let's check this clip out.
So we got a company with strong fundamentals. The industry was dying. He innovated the industry and then put bolt-on businesses on the business. One of the bolt-on businesses called Fire became the business model, and then he became the retail, and then he did this. Then he created the recurring business model. Then from here, not only did he do that, then he became a what? He became a shipping company because now he has his own logistics, right? And inside of having his own logistics, what he did was he tied the logistics into the retail, he tied the logistics into the media, he tied the logistics into the Amazon equipment, he tied the logistics into the medical. And then watch this. Then he decided to do what, Jose? Buy a grocery chain. He bought Whole Foods. So then he got into the food and business, the food area. So he took one business, the bookstore, innovated this business model, and then had what's called bolt-on businesses to it. When you get into investing, you gotta understand a couple things. You gotta understand fundamental analysis, which is what I do. So fundamental analysis is based on understanding the company's financials. So you're basing that company on how strong is it financially. So you're looking at the financial statements, the financial ratios, the company analysis, and the industry analysis. Okay, let's break this down for a second, Jose. So if we're looking at a company, right, and we want to make an investment in a company, if we're doing financial analysis, we're looking at financially, meaning income statement, balance sheet, cash flow statement. These are the three statements that tell me how the money is moving, how good the company is financially, and it tells me how the company is flowing. If those are strong, that's a check. Then we're using the ratios, which is return on equity, return on investment, return on assets, all of those things. They're good, we good. So then we do an overview on the company, meaning is the company strong in all those different areas? And then we look at the industry, because watch this, Jose. A company can be strong, but in a failing industry. Think about that, right? A company can be strong, but the industry that the company is in could be declining. And if that's happening, then we gotta look for that company to either add on what's called bolt-on businesses. Come on, Jose. Bolt-on businesses, meaning the company itself is gonna add other companies that are strong, maybe outside of that company, right? But they are in different areas. So I'll give you an example about that. Amazon, right? So Amazon is actually, it's not actually a tech company. It's a company that has bolted on technology. Am I making sense? So watch it. It's bolted on other businesses. So watch this. Amazon started off as a bookstore, right? Started off as a bookstore. And you would think primarily that's what it does. But it actually, this could be a whiteboard moment. This could be a whiteboard moment. Let's whiteboard this out. Let's whiteboard this out. Let's whiteboard this out. This is a good whiteboard moment. This is a good whiteboard moment right here. All right, so watch this. So what we talking about, Jose, is a company being good, and then we talking about analyzing the industry, because what we don't want is a company that is solid, or we could have this, a solid company that's in the decaying or declining industry, right? But we're using Amazon because it's a company that is strong financially, right? But we're gonna show you how they added on what's called bolt-on businesses. So here we go. So they started off with books. Right? This was the business model at first, right? And then what happens was, Jose, the book business wasn't so much a decline in business, because here's what I realized from listening to him. Books are actually a booming business. Watch this. But the business model could have been innovated. He innovated the business model. Because instead of going to Books A Million, instead of going to Barnes and Nobles, instead of going to these other businesses and going in the store, he said, yo, you could just go online, right? This is why the birth of the internet was so powerful, right? So he found a crack. So he started with books. And then from books, he started selling other stuff under the same platform, but he started saying, hey, he got access to other things. So then he became just an online retailer, right? But then what happened was he got into the web space, right? That became another bolt-on business. But remember, books were the initial business, right? So books were the initial business. So then he added web, and then he added retail. But watch this. And then he added, watch this, Jose, the Amazon electronics. Like Alexa and the Amazon version of things, right? So then he got into technology. But watch this. Now, what is he into? Medical. But then in the process of that, what he got into, Jose? He added this other thing inside of that, which was media. But watch this, Jose. All of these are bolt-on businesses that stem from what? Books. But then we realize is this: while books still became the main thing, the web became the biggest thing. You feel me? So watch this. It's a great company in the industry that was declining, which was books, right? They innovated the book business model on how we purchase books. And then he started getting into other retail. Then he created his own products, the Amazon products. And then he got into medical, which we talked about now. Then he got into web. Then he got into media. And now where's he at? He's now out of space. You feel me? So we got a company with strong fundamentals. The industry was dying. He innovated the industry and then put bolt-on businesses on the business. Those bolt-on businesses, one of the bolt-on businesses called Fire became the business model, and then he became the retail, and then he did this. Then he created the recurring business model. And then from here, not only did he do that, then he became a what? He became a shipping company. Because now he has his own logistics. Right? And inside of having his own logistics, what he did was he tied the logistics into the retail. He tied the logistics into the media. He tied the logistics into the Amazon equipment. He tied the logistics into the medical. And then watch this. Then he decided to do what, Jose? Buy a grocery chain. He bought Whole Foods. So then he got into the food and business, the food area. So he took one business, the bookstore, innovated this business model, and then had what's called bolt-on businesses to it. These are different, in the business world, this is called a bolt-on business, or it's called a different vertical. He added different verticals to one successful business model. So when we look at fundamental analysis, we can ask ourselves this question. Is the company strong on the income statement, balance sheet, cash flow statement, and do all the financial ratios make sense? If they do, the next thing we're gonna do is analyze the industry. If the industry is good, Jose, or if the industry is declining, we ask ourselves, what bolt-on business has the business added to make it self-sufficient? So now we don't just look at Amazon as a tech company, it's actually a consumer company that has tech added to it. Come on, bro. That boy be cooking. How you feel about that? So the next thing we're gonna look at, Jose, outside of other fundamentals, I hope they're trapping with us right now. We teach them, Jose. We teach them. The next thing we're gonna look at is the risk analysis, right? So before we go there, we're gonna look at technical analysis, right? So the technical analysis, for my technical people, they don't care much about the fundamentals as much, Jose, because they're looking at the charts. Right, so the charts is giving them an idea of how a company is moving over a certain amount of time. And while they're looking at those charts, Jose, they're looking for, watch this, Jose, they got it on there, patterns. Right, because patterns tell them that, watch this, Jose, a movement has repeated itself. Watch this. Consistently. That's what they're looking for. So if you're a technical person, you are now looking at charts. So the charts give you a full range of how a company has, watch this, behaved over time. And they'll break that time down into minutes, hours, years, months, because now they're looking for similarities, because they're gonna trace this pattern to this pattern. And if this pattern is identified, like let's say a company is doing like this, or a company is doing this, or a company is did this, they're saying, how do I identify this again? And once they identify one of these happening again, they say, oh, I see this, but they'll catch it somewhere around here. So once they got identified that this is happening again, they say, hey, I'm gonna bet that it's gonna go this or that. It tells them what's gonna happen. So they're looking for indicators that identify pattern. And the next thing they're looking for is volume. They're looking at how much volume is in the stock at a said amount of time. Jose? So we talk about my technical analysis, people, right? And then we looking at my risk analysis. So this, now, if you are fundamental or technical, you wanna always pay attention to risk. So it's understanding what is the risk in the market, what is the credit risk, meaning, so companies have credit. AA credit, B credit. This is important for us to understand, just like human beings. Like as humans, we have a financial report card. Well, guess what? These companies have report cards as well, right? And we want to understand their credit report card because they're lending. If we want to understand their credit risk, it also taps into the debt. So then the operational risk, meaning how risky is the company operating? That's good. That's good. Meaning, what? Okay, that's a good one, Jose. Watch this. So we look at a company's core business model. So watch this. So we look at a company's core business model, Jose. We're gonna talk about operational risk. So we look at a company's core business model, Jose, and we say to ourselves, for instance, right now, any company, watch this, operational risk. Any company that is operating from China, their operations is at risk because Trump is coming in office and he's saying, we're going to put tariffs on China. That is an operational risk for any company that has majority of their business in China. All right, so now we got to pay attention. So now if you got a company that's doing a lot of business in China, you're going to ask yourself, how much risk am I willing to take on this company during the next 4 years based on who is in the office? Does that make sense over there? That makes sense? So that is the risk. And so we look at that from these different components: balance sheet analysis, income statement analysis, ratios, market volatility, companies' ability to meet debt obligations, that's their credit risk, and risk from business operations. And then we go candlesticks, RSI, studying trading volumes. This is how you make a decision based on your buy and hold, Jose. How we feel? Those are the big three of investor, Jose. How we feel about that, Jose?
Start stacking today. Join Coinbase with my link in the description and get free Bitcoin just for signing up. Don't wait.